everybody, it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. Okay, so I'm back in my craft room today and I've decided I wanted to do something a little bit different. I don't very often sign up for challenges because they make me really nervous. I'm not going to lie. I get really anxious when I'm doing them. I think part of the reason is because I worry about it. I worry the challenge will take me too far out of my comfort zone. And I guess if it's just me doing it and nobody else sees, that's okay. But because I video things, it is a little bit more challenging. And so I guess by doing this, I'm kind of putting myself out there in front of you all, and I hope that you will bear with me. So just situating myself, getting ready. So I've decided to join the Roxy Creations challenge, and I honestly do not remember what the hashtag is, but you will see it in the title of this video. I will also put it in the description below, and obviously anything I share on Instagram will be tagged with that hashtag. So Rachel from Roxy Creations has started this challenge quite a few weeks ago now, and I've been following along her videos, and I've decided I want to play. I decided in about week 2 or 3 that I wanted to play, but it's taken me this long to pluck up the courage to start. So I think the other reason I worry about joining in challenges is because I worry that I may not have the resources necessary to complete each week. So Gail Augustinelli reminded me just recently when I commented on one of her videos that she did to join in on Roxy's challenge, on Roxy Creations challenge, that there are no Roxy Creations police out there monitoring whether you do it correctly or not. So I've decided to jump in at the deep end. Now the first week was creating tags, I believe, out of old book pages. Now I don't really have any of the beautiful old book pages that Rachel finds around her, and she did mention that you could use music paper, so that's what I've chosen to use. So I've pulled these couple of pages out of a music book, and lo and behold, when I did that, I actually found this music paper as well, which is so aged. So I've decided to have a little bit of a play with both, and we'll see how this goes. Now the idea of this challenge is to do as many of these as you can in 45 minutes. So I have my timer at the ready, and I'm going to press fingers crossed, I'm going to press start. Okay, we're off. I need to have that behind me so I can't see it, because that will make me very anxious. So I have my box of glue book pages, and I've decided to use these. Rachel glued some pages herself, but I have a huge box of these here, so I am going to use these, and I'm going to glue them onto the music paper. So I don't want to use, oh, it doesn't really matter. I think I'll use that as the front. So I'm going to glue onto this side. I'm getting nervous already, and I've only just started. Okay, so the idea with this challenge, Rachel has said, is to complete from start to finish as many of the item as you can on camera before the time is out. So the key is to prep the pieces and cut them out, and then decorate them within that 45 minutes. So that's my plan. I just hope, I'm the sort of person who gets caught up in one part of the process, and then I find it really difficult to move past that. And usually the preparation is the part I get caught up in. So for instance, this part here where I'm just preparing the tags, I tend to spend too much time doing that and not enough time decorating, because for me the decorating is the more timely part of the process. So I'm going to glue one down there. So I hope you're all fabulous. I am, by the way, just so that you know. I was going to say I've been in here this morning doing a little bit of organising and sorting, and I got my new trays, so I've kind of been going through some paper piles that I've had sitting on my desks for a while without really anywhere to store them, and sorting those, and I got them to a good place before I turned the camera on. I'm kind of rewarding myself with a crafting video now. So I love this sheet. There's so much detail. I think I'm going to have that. Oh, do I want that as the front? No, the notes on this are different, whereas this is very, oh no, they're very, very different. Okay, I'm going to use that. Oh, this paper is a little bit delicate, which makes me a little bit happy because it kind of fits in with what Rachel was doing. She was using some beautiful old book paper that I believe was in Italian, and oh, I just get very green with envy when I look at the beautiful papers that Rachel has to play with. I love old books. Having said that, if I had them here, I don't know how I would go actually pulling them apart. I do have some older books, but they're definitely not as aged as the ones that Rachel has been using. And I struggle to pull those apart or use those in my collaging. And I have tried to get myself organised to start this challenge a couple of times now, where I found myself going through my books trying to decide what to use, whether I had old book pages that I could utilise, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to say, yes, I'm going to pull that particular book apart and use that. So I procrastinated a bit longer and decided I wasn't doing it, and then I think I re-watched Rachel's video. I've probably watched it about 3 times now, and I'm still not sure if I'm doing it properly, so please forgive me if I'm not. Don't be a Roxy Creations please, because I'll be really sad if I get called out for doing it incorrectly. But yeah, I've watched it I think 2 or 3 times now, trying to remind myself of what I needed and what I had to do, because I've kind of talked myself out of doing it a couple of times. Anyway, here I am. I'm going for gold doing this. So I'm thinking I might do one more on here, and then how am I going for time? Not too bad. My overall video, of course, will be a little bit longer because I have done a little bit of an introduction to the challenge. So I didn't start my timer until I actually started to do the crafting. Okay, so I do have more music paper, as you saw, but I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to cut these out. I just don't want to be caught out, and I'm wondering if I can actually tear these. Do I dare? Well, that kind of tore quite well, actually. Okay. So these are to be sewn around, and Rachel didn't do hers on camera and has said that that's perfectly okay to do off camera. So that is my intention. I will get them to finished, and then at the very end I will sew them off camera. But as long as they're completely finished and decorated before the 45 minutes are up, and there's no limit on, isn't that a beautiful scrap of paper? Oh my gosh, there's no limit as to how many you have to do, as long as they are finished pieces of ephemera. When you're done, you just tally up the number that you got done, and that's your number for the day, which I was really excited about. Part of the reason this challenge has really spoken to me is because I've been working on building an ephemera stash, as you know, using kits from JunkWithSteph, and so this is just one more opportunity for me to make some more ephemera to add to my stash, which is really, really fun. Okay, I didn't quite tear it evenly there, but just tidy that up a little bit. Okay. Love those scraps. And I will have to use the scissors across the bottom because that is far too tiny to try and tear, which is fine. So I'm still very much working on my organisation behind the scenes, which is fabulous because I see little bits of progress probably every couple of days at the moment, which is awesome. I feel like it may be ever evolving. So the trays that I've just purchased and have been setting up this morning are kind of stepping in, I feel like, for a system that I already had in place, or I guess it's kind of a combined effort of resources. So I was using manila folders to sort and store some of my digitals, and the trays have kind of taken over. And it's not that I'm not using the manila folders anymore, but so that's 4 already prepared. I'm going to set these aside because I'm not going to do any more collaging right now. Yes, the trays are kind of now housing the people's digitals that I have larger quantities of, I suppose you could say. I think I'm going to cut that. I did actually find some new kits to me that I purchased. I did actually buy quite a few kits over the I'm struggling to cut straight over the holiday period. Whoops. And I haven't shared those with you all. I don't even think I've printed them all. I have printed some, and so I was going through the papers and found kits that I'd printed that had actually been sat in a pile to share with you all. When I was back videoing, I'd forgotten about it and had ended up burying them under other piles of different types of paper. And I was just like, oh, that's not good. Like, I completely forgot that they were there because I put other things on top of them. Please tell me I'm not on my own by doing that. So I may have to do a collecting and gathering video in the near future. I feel like there's other kits though that I will probably need to print off to share with you. So that's lots of fun. But it also made me feel really good because I'm getting closer to, getting closer to having all of that organized. Okay, so I've kind of thrown some of my scraps to the side, which isn't ideal, but okay, so I've got about 7 there, and I've just got some tea stain paper here that I need to back them with. So removing this, and I almost forgot that I had to back them, so how am I going? Oh my gosh, the pressure. Okay. The time consuming part for me isn't actually putting the papers on, it's the cutting, separating the individual pieces, but we're getting there, we're doing okay. So I'm just using tea stain paper for all of them. I'm not going to collage the backs or anything like that this time. I don't feel like I can allow myself the time to do that, to be fair. Will I fit? Oh, I will fit another one. That's fun. I probably should have watched Rachel's video again today. It's probably been about 2 or 3 days since I watched it last. So I'm just thinking about the decorating of these. I think I remember what I need to do, but I'll be doing Rachel's challenge, but I'll be doing it my way. I really wanted to break out in song then. Oh dear. Okay. So that's one lot. So I just have one of my trays here. I should show you one of my trays here. I've popped some tea stain paper in. There's a couple of tea dyed prints there that didn't work out so well, so I tea stained those as well, and I've popped those in here, not for any particular reason except when I was sorting papers, that is kind of where they landed. But I can have that on my desk with some tea stain paper in and have it ready, and I've still got room to move and create, which is awesome. And because they stack, I can actually have several, or golly, I could probably have 20 on my desk and just stack them up. And then I can just pull out the ones I need as I need them, which is, I think, going to be fabulous. I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on my desk that are stacked, and then I've got a separate one with my tea stain paper, and I knew I would be needing the tea stain paper for this challenge, so I kept it separated. And I love that. I actually haven't had anywhere to have my tea stain paper nearby. It's not something I think about. Usually if I have a plan when I turn the video on, I either use scrap tea stain paper, or I collect the tea stain paper from my filing cabinet, which is a little bit further away from my desk, and I bring it to my desk before I start. There has been the odd occasion where I've been videoing and thought to myself, I should have got that, so I've had to go and get it, which means a break in the video, and that's something that I usually edit out, is when I have to go and get papers from my filing cabinet, because it's just, you're looking at my desk of whatever I'm working on and seeing nothing else. So I usually just edit that out for your convenience, really. But I won't have to do that now. I can have my little tray with some different coloured tea stain papers and or dyed papers in it, and I'm good to go. Okay, and I do have one more. I think I'm going to do... no, I like that way. Doesn't really matter, Sharon. So yes, I'm really just trying to work on how I can set up my space to be more, not just organized, but effective for when I'm crafting. And I think that is the most exciting of all, is feeling like it's going to be more effective for me when I'm working. Fingers crossed. And I still haven't got out to have a little play in my mixed media room. It is coming. I had planned to do it yesterday, but sorry, cannot cut and talk at the same time. Sound like a robot. But I didn't have a great night's sleep the night before, and I woke up really, really tired. I kind of hit a brick wall. So I didn't get there. It just didn't happen. I was just like, I could go out and I could start, and I was literally flat staying awake. I have no idea what that was about. I do that. I tend to have good days, good days, good days, good days for many, many moons, and then all of a sudden I just tend to it doesn't want to come off. I tend to hit a brick wall, and I just need some downtime. So I've just had a couple of days of downtime. So it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. Gosh, and hubby did tell me that he asked me when I woke up in the morning if I'd had a good night's sleep, and I said no. I was actually flat opening my eyes that particular morning, and he said no. He said you were tossing and turning all night. Apparently I woke him up early in the morning and he couldn't get back to sleep, so that happened. I was just like, I'm so sorry. So yes, when I realized that I had been like that, I kind of wasn't as surprised that I was so tired, and was probably a little less hard on myself. It's funny how you can be like that and just not remember or not know. Not even that you should remember, I just didn't know. All I knew was that I woke up feeling really, really tired. Okay, so I'm getting there. Just realized how long it's been since I played with backgrounds like this instead of digital papers. It's kind of fun. Okay, and oops, one more. Okay, so that's that. And now Rachel did make tags out of hers, so I feel like that's what I need to do, although I am kind of wishing I could leave them and make them journaling cards, but going to try and stick to the way Rachel did them as much as I possibly can. So cutting one, and I will use that as a template. And I should bring my scrap bowl across. Saves me tossing my arm across the camera. I'm just like, did I check that last one to see if it was up the right way? It is up the right way, so that's good, because I don't know that I did. Okay. Fun to be thinking I'm using up my blue book pages. Just making sure I'm up the right way. Okay, so that is my tags made, and I would like to ink. Which I know Rachel didn't do, but that is my preference. Excuse my arm. So they are fun wide tags, which is really awesome. Oops, I need to do the back. I'm getting excited and I'm getting worried about the time. Going. It must be time to replace the brush on my ink pad. Lucky last. So my tags have ended up incredibly wide as a result of using my glue book pages, and I potentially could have made them a little narrower, but they're still going to fit on a page fine, so I'm okay with that. Okay, so when Rachel did hers, she used some images that were printed onto vellum. Now I don't have any images printed on vellum. I do have some here from JunkWithSteph that I've printed onto tracing paper, so I'm hoping to use some of those. And I also have some, I think they're vellum stickers that I've purchased, so I like the idea of using some of these as well. Just looking to see what I have. Honestly, don't remember whether, I know she had a really big butterfly that she put on the first one, and for some reason that's all I can remember, because what I remember is that she used that beautiful big butterfly and then didn't put anything else on there, and I was like, oh, how fun, that's so quick. But I don't know that I have anything quite that big. Isn't that pretty? Just wondering. I also have these images here, so I'm just looking for something a little bit bigger. Oh, that's so fun. Okay, so that for me is that one. Let's see if I can get this off. It's been quite some time since I've played with these stickers. Okay. I think what I want to do is just popping those back in there for the minute. I'm moving those to the side. I need to find a topper for that. Just have some sari silk. Oops. Okay. And I'm just gluing this in place until I have a chance to sew this is not the time for my glue bottle to decide to take forever for the glue to come down. I think if I'll leave it on the side maybe. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave that tag like that and just sew around the outside. So, or do I want a little bit of fabric? See, this is where it gets time consuming for me because I fluff around. I've got threads hanging on to me. I don't have time for that. Just am wondering if I want a little bit of fabric across the bottom. I want that thinner. Scissors won't cut. This is what happens to me when I have a challenge. Okay, so I'm going to cut that about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way across. And I don't remember if Rachel added extra, but I just feel like I wanted more. Do I want it that way? I think that makes me happier. Okay, so I'm not trying to glue this down perfectly. I just want to hold it in place until I can sew. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And I have some Tim Holtz labels here, and I've just caught this one here just at the moment has caught my eye, so just adding some ink. And I'm going to add a little bit of extra glue just in case. These stickers have been sitting for a little while, that's all. That way. Okay, love that. So, what next? Oh, so what I was thinking was, I have these fussy flowers from JunkWithSteph, and I was going to tear, but that's very close there, so just going to roughly fussy cut okay, pop that out of the way. So this is printed onto tracing paper. I'm not being particularly fussy with the cutting because tracing paper, as you know, is transparent, so even if it's covering part of the image where there is no printing, you will still see what's underneath through the tracing paper. So I don't, whoops, I'll pick that up later. So I don't need to be quite as fussy. I feel like I'm losing it on that darker background. So I'm going to pop that down there, and I'm just going to use my glue stick whoops, doesn't seem to want, I don't think I got any glue there. How did I manage that? Okay, so just want to add a little bit of texture with some fabric. I'm not doing well with this challenge, guys. I've got like 4 minutes left. I'm just like, where did that time go? Oh my goodness. Terrible. I am not meant to be a speedy crafter. I need to get this one done so I can at least say I've done 2. Come on, glue, come on down. I think I'll take that sort of across a little bit. And I do like the idea of a label. I like the storyteller. Oops. not even sure I have time to ink. I might get this one done. Gosh, how embarrassing. I really need to work on this. Okay, I need a topper. I'm just kind of grabbing whatever is here. Oh, golly. It's like the thinnest tag top. I thought I had it backwards, but I don't think I do. Like the fabric. I thought the fabric was upside down, but I don't think it is. It needs to come across. Look how flustered I get, guys. Oops. Oh no, I need to do something about that tag topper. It's just not big enough. What can I have there? I need to take that away. I think I want that one. Yes. Okay. Okay. Look, I don't have time to remove fluff off my fingers. Okay. That's better. Can I at least say I did too? See, I should get time for inking and thinking. Okay, I want something. I want something there. Maybe just a little piece of lace. And I'm adding a lot more glue with this one because it won't necessarily catch the stitching. Okay, so that is our second one. I will stitch around that, and there is our timer. So I got 2 done, guys. I will show you the 2 that we did. I do really love them, actually. Okay, so 1 and 2, and they will be sewn around, but I do have a little bit of time, so I'm going to continue. I really love the pop of this one. Sorry, just refocusing my camera. So I'm going to add, it is going to disappear a little bit once I put the, take the backing off. I need my awl. Lucky I didn't try this one when I was on the timer. So I'm thinking about there. So just burnishing that down with the back of my finger, and it's funny, you know, because I know that although I'm not on a timer now, I still am kind of ruled by the clock because I know I can only let this video go for roughly an hour. And yet, I feel so much less pressure knowing that timer is off. How does that even make sense? Technically, I'm still on a timer. Love that. Okay. So different stickers here. These are metallic stickers. And Believe in Yourself has just jumped out at me. Just a touch of ink around the outside. Oops, I want that laying down. I'm calling that one done. I love that. Once it's sewn around to the outside, I do want to add a topper though. What do I have? I'm wondering if I can do this in half. Yes, I think I can. Okay, love that. Love the simplicity of that. And just stitching around the outside. Wondering what else I might have to go on these. That butterfly was really pretty because it stood out. I'm locking this one in. That will go there. I just want to see if I can find something. Actually, I have these vellum stickers as well. I'm not able to tell you. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, love that. Not able to tell you what the packs are or anything. I have shared when I purchased them, when they arrived, I've shared the kits before I started using them. So if you're interested in finding out, you will find them in my collecting and gathering videos. Oh, I really love that too. Okay. So I think I'm going to call those good. Just popping these away. Okay, so let's pop these down. You can all watch me struggle to try and get this off for the next half hour. Just like, come on now, this was meant to be quick. Story of my life. Love that. fabulous. Really loving them. Oops. Just thinking, I haven't decided, but I may even do a little stitching around the sticker. Not sure. I'll decide when I sew them. Kind of depends on how else I decorate them too. And I did really like this on here. Get it off without tearing it. Just like it stuck to the back of my fingernail all that time trying to get that one little spot off, and then that tiny spot stuck to the back of my fingernail and I couldn't get it off to keep pulling the backing off. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so I think I want that there. Can you hear me concentrating now? See, I just want to get these finished. And I know I'm pushing the boundaries of my time. And I have a violin. There's something in here regarding music. Okay, so I just spotted this very moment, and I think I like this white and gold, which is very different, but I kind of like the way it pops off of everything that's already on the page. So I'm going to add a bit of fabric glue. Calling that one done. And I'd like to see some of the I like the way that pops against the dark paper. Okay, and I think I'd like one of these labels for that. There's one here in the garden, which I think is really sweet. And again, I'm going to add some fabric glue because it's going down over the fabric. Oops. And this one, I like that white again, I think. Just has such a pretty pop against the dark aged paper. I've got a glue goober on the end of my glue. I'm like, I really should take that off. Oh, it's just come off. Okay. And I've just noticed Professor of Music. That would have been fun with the music themed image. No, I'm going to go with that. It's a subject well worth considering, is what the label says. And adding some fabric glue. Okay, one more. I think I'd like calico at the base of that, and I don't know that I had. It's not big enough. Ah. This strip here. So I'll say about there. Lucky you cannot see my desk because I have made quite a mess in the roughly hour that I went to check my timer then. Note to self, it's not on anymore. I cannot see my phone, so I don't know exactly how long I've been videoing for, but I'm sure I've gone over the hour, so I apologize for that. But to be fair, if I wasn't videoing, I would have kept going once the challenge timer had gone anyway, so okay, love that. And I'm thinking whoops. these back in the packet. I don't know why. I thought these ones were underneath, so I've picked this up and I've just ripped the packet trying to get them, and the quicker I tried to get them in there when I realized that I didn't really need to be doing that, the slower it went. Just like oh my goodness. Little things. That's I'm going to use that. It's all about the little things that I turn into big things. Oh golly gosh. So I do need to find something to top these with. I'm not really sure what I will use at this stage. I love that. Okay, but I'm excited to say that I may have only got 2 done in the first 45 minutes, which is really embarrassing. I need to work on my time management there because that's not great. But eventually I ended up with 6 altogether, so I will show you all of them. Oh, 7 altogether. I think they were the first 2 I did. So just a little bit over. So that is the first one that we did in our 45 minutes. And our second one in the 45 minutes. And sadly, that was all we did in 45 minutes. But in just a little bit longer, I finished these as well. I probably went a little bit over with the embellishments for the first 2, like the little pieces of fabric and thing. I've kept these ones a little bit more simplified, and I really love the way they look. I think once the stitching is around them and the little tab on top, they'll be gorgeous. Love, love, love. Okay, so that is my first challenge done for Roxy's Weekly Challenge. It is hashtag Roxy's Weekly Challenge, and although it didn't quite go to plan and I only finished 2, I really love the way that they've turned out, and they'll be great in my ephemera stash. So I'm looking forward to doing more of Roxy's Weekly Challenges, and we'll see how we go with our time management. Maybe by the end of the challenge I will be a little bit more organized as to how much I can do in the time given. So thank you, Rachel, for challenging me and letting people see how muddled I can be when the timer is on. And to all of you for joining, I look forward to seeing you all soon, everybody. Please stay safe, stay inspired, and happy crafting. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.